Good morning, good morning, good morning. Actually, this afternoon. But Big Mark at you again today with a very wonderful guest. My sister from Arkansas was the last foster home I was in, 16 and 17. And she found me after 30 some years. And it's good to have her here. We talked about abuse, the effects of abuse, and things people go through. But very people talk about what she's about to talk about, and that is her abuser was her father. And we don't talk about sexual and physical abuse when it comes to parents. It's always the uncle. But this is really crucial where the rubber hits the road. And it's been a hard time for her to talk about it. But guess what? She's seeing the power of freedom. She's seeing the power of honesty. She's seeing the power of the truth getting out. But to no further ado, bam!
Hello.
Cindy!
Hello, y'all.
How you doing, girl?
I'm doing really
How
good.
is Sweet Home Alabama treating you?
It has been wonderful. I can't wait to come back.
Hey, Cindy. I know this is rough to talk about, but how do you feel now from back then? And I was actually there. How do you think it's affecting you now to be sexually assaulted by your father?
Well, that's a tricky question, how I feel right now about it. I have anger, but I have more forgiveness in my heart because it helps get rid of that anger. That forgiveness is for me.
Wow. Cindy, did you have to get a lot of counseling?
Yes, I've been in counseling all my life.
See, people don't understand the lifelong impact that these things have. You saying you've been in counseling all your life, and and
Me.
yes, and not only the sexual, but there was some domestic violence where you saw your last husband. Tell us what happened there.
Um, Guilt, things that you go through, the shame. You get on them drugs and it covers up that pain and like out of sight, out of mind. And then there's situations where you get high and you tell somebody your things you've been through. That's like casting your pearls before swine. They're just high and you're just high, and you'll find out that the person you're talking to starts sharing the abuse they were in. It's kind of a good thing to bring it out, and then you wake up the next morning like, wow, I said all this, and through counseling I found out that's how predators find us. They know that we've been abused. That's why they say, oh, women have been abused are more sexually active. Women that have been abused, after being abused, you're scared to say no. You might get in a situation you don't even want to be in, but you don't want it to trigger.
You had a suicide in your family by gun. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, he's a good Christian man. I mean, I never thought I'd buy my home. I had my son named Daniel. He was a beautiful man. His mother is warrior of God. But he got on meth. And the things he did, he couldn't forgive himself for. I loved him so much, and I got off meth to make his life worse something.
So your meth was self-medicating too, and
Yes.
he was meth with you. And what happened that dreadful day?
Um, he hung himself.
Right in front of you?
No, we found out about it. And then the day that we put him in the ground, I looked around at the crowd and the people in the crowd, family members and non-family members that were on meth, and I just looked at them and I said, his death won't be for nothing. Methamphetamine will never be in my family, in my home. I will never tolerate it. I learned to hate it. I don't know if I'm a cheater on how I got off drugs, but I learned to hate from the pain I saw my 16-year-old son burying his son. His dad. Um, yeah, you learn to hate. And then the fear of your child thinking he might be like that. You get a great fear. And then you get a warrior part of you that says, with every breath I take, I'll weed my garden of this evil. When bad seeds are planted, nothing but bad can grow from them.
Let me ask you another question. I know you're a Christian. We are Christians.
It's the only way I got through it.
No? Well, how did the church play a role?
Oh, a big role. I'd go and I'd ask, and God wasn't answering, and He wasn't answering. I even did silly stuff like in the bathroom, get medicines and sneak and cut my dad's hair, and was like, "Well, you get him, devil." And luckily, my room looked like a shrine for Jesus. My peace was getting to go to church on Sunday. And one day, out of all these tries and all these thoughts, I still went to church. I heard the pastor talking about there's so many people who wants a Mercedes, wants this and wants that. And I knew what I'd been praying that I wanted for so long. And it was like this little thought, a whisper that said, just say one thing and I promise you I will carry you through the most beautiful life you've ever had. And I did that, and God has kept His promise. I'm so blessed. I'd talk you guys' ears off with all the blessings that I've received.
And you know something?
He kept His promise. God did.
We've been doing this series from sexual abuse, physical abuse, and meth. Seems to pop his ugly head up.
It says that
all the
meth
time.
won't kill you. Like you might get a heart attack. That's how they say, oh, it's not that bad. Or where they make all their excuses. Meth won't kill you and make you kill yourself.
Wow.
You can't live, the pain.
I got you.
Their guilt, how far they fell from grace. And then when the whole family knows and they feel lost, they just give up.
Okay.
A lot of people with shame will make you hide in the dark where sin is.
Speak one more question. There's girls out there who've been touched by their dad.
They're real afraid to say
and the church,
all ages,
and the church, hold up, Cindy.
Yep.
The church don't talk about incest. Families hide from incest. What would you say to the girls? What would you say to the girls right now?
Find someone you trust. It doesn't have to be church. I do know people that came to our church and got help. They took it very seriously and they put a stop to it. But find someone you really, really trust. It might be a person asking you, did something like this happen in the past? And you go to them now and say, yeah, it did. And if you're little right now and someone's asking you, trust, you might even go to the police station, have to say one word. And then they've got kind people there to talk to you. The only way out of this situation is to tell on, shine light. That's the only way to make it stop. All the prayer.
That's right.
You have to, what I was saying about Jesus, and I want a Mercedes and this. All I had to do, they were saying you had to take one step forward to get that Mercedes, or one effort to get it. God was telling me that day, I had to do one thing to get it. I had to tell.
Whoa.
I had to tell.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, y'all. And that right there, we don't like to tell. People want to make you feel guilty for telling. There's repercussions for telling. But I'm going to tell you, like my sister said, tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
This was a very touchy one. But guess what? She's free. Her husband's sitting right there.
Tell somebody.
He's free. And for that, I'm telling y'all, you can be free too. Don't worry about family getting mad. Don't worry about friends getting mad. You have to live with you, and wherever you go, you are for the rest of your life. And remember, falling is a lot like flying till you hit the ground. So keep your head up. Peace.
Peace.
Hope I wasn't too bad of a rambler. I just got so much love to give you.
Peace, brothers, sisters.